Hi, so welcome to our syllabus update for 5619. I've got my file pulled up on my larger screen, so if you see my eyes shifting back and forth, it's just because I'm trying to work through the file. Um, I would ask you to go onto Canvas, look under the tab for 5619, specifically the syllabus. You'll find the file there. I've cut and pasted the file into the syllabus description, but I've also included the link to the updated Word document. I would encourage you to download and actually look at the Word document. The reason is because I've actually kind of marked it up. I've put in red the things that are changes or new, and I've actually striked out or struck through text that we're like not using. So I actually would encourage you to look at the Word document because that's what I'm going to actually read through right now. You'll see at the very top of the first page it says updated as of March 18th, 2020. And as you scroll through that document, you'll see, still me as the instructor. We still get 2 credit hours of lecture and a credit hour worth of lab. We'll still meet, but we're not going to meet in Butler Hall. So I've scratched that part out. Course description stays the same. The text, the alternative text, supplementary material, all that stays the same. Learning objectives stay the same. Where you'll notice a difference is starting at the bottom of page 2. It says they're grading, right? So mastery learning, blended, flipped, all that. Now here's an important detail. Required exercises must be successfully completed before the end of the semester. Now I've removed the don't get a required thing done by the deadline, fail the class, right? That doesn't exist right now. So you essentially don't have to worry about hey, I'm sick for one day and I sent something in a day late, or I'm in the middle of taking somebody to the hospital or caring for a neighbor or helping with some errands and I missed something by one day and I'm going to fail the class. No, that's not going to happen. But, 2 things. One, I can't give you a grade unless you finish the work, so you got to get it done before the end of the semester. That's kind of like a no-brainer, straightforward thing. Second of all, you don't want to let stuff go so long because every class is going to start to back up. So the sooner you can knock this one out and kind of get it out of the way, probably the better off you are. So you'll notice here it says you may skip 1 required exercise throughout the semester. I've changed it from miss because it's essentially you no longer have the miss because it's not about the deadline. It's actually about getting the things done before the end of the term so you can miss one. So that's a change. Now the top of page 3. Graded assignments for optional exercises. That's the way you're going to get above your 70 points to get an A or a B. You now have 50 points over the 70. You have 120 points possible. You have to get 89.5 of them to get an A. So what are those other 10 points? Where did they come from? Right there in the middle of page 3, it's this discussion board that's going on. Right now this week, we're having a discussion. We're in like day 4 of it now. Next week, during spring break, optional discussion board will still go on. The idea is to stay in a regular space. The idea is to stay engaged and communicating and sharing with each other, working through what's going on with this situation because it's important that we actually stay connected and thinking about what's going on and put it in the context of who we are as environmental health engineers. So this discussion board, great opportunity to make yourself feel more comfortable about what's occurring. Now, you'll notice bottom of page 3. No credit is given for late or missed assignments, all right? Okay, that's okay. That part has been eliminated. You've got to get the work done before the end of the semester, but you've got some time. If you have a deadline that's posted on the syllabus, try to follow it. But if you miss it by a little bit, relax. You're going to be okay. We can work through this together. Now, top of page 4, here's where some stuff is kind of new and it's going to be a little bit weird, but we're going to make this work, no problems, right? First of all, exams. Now, we really only have an optional final exam in here, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to email that exam to you as a PDF. I'm going to ask you to complete that exam and email it back to me as a PDF. Seems pretty straightforward, right? Now, you could print that PDF and then work on it at home. You could work on that PDF just on your laptop or on your iPad or whatever you want. That's fine with me. But here's what I'm asking you to do to help protect the integrity of the exam. I'm going to ask you to get somebody to serve as your proctor. Now, this could be your parent, your significant other, your roommate, anybody who's essentially in that adult space. I'd like for them to be eyes on you. They don't have to stare at you the whole time you take the test, but to look and make sure you're taking it in a place where you've got your books put away, you're not obviously cheating in some fashion, right? And to get them to essentially sign on the exam, yep, I've taken a look, and yet this was done well. Now, could you cheat? Sure, you could find a way to cheat. I'm not here to be the police of cheating. I'm here to protect the integrity of the exam. If I catch you cheating, yes, you will fail the course. What I'm looking for you to do is find somebody else to help proctor your test. What if you don't take the optional test? You don't need the proctor. What if you can't come up with a proctor because you are truly like all alone on the day when it goes to take the test? Then you're fine. This is an optional thing. I'm saying, right? Let's read the words. Exams will be administered according to the CArE calendar. All exams are closed book to the maximum extent possible. Maximum extent possible. Doesn't mean it's required. It means as possible. I would request that you have a second person proctor your exam, a friend, a parent, etc., to watch you take the test. Ask that proctor to sign the exam before you scan and return it as a PDF to an attached email. Do yourself a favor. When you send files, name the file as something useful, like your last name, the course number, and the assignment that the file represents. Like, for instance, author 5619, final exam. Do this in all your classes because there's going to be faculty going through like gazillions of emails. You don't want your stuff to get lost. So the easier it is for people to find your stuff and give you credit, the better. So please make sure any PDFs you're mailing to me, that the subject line of the email is the course number and the assignment and your name, and that I can figure out what this is all about. And that the files are your name, and it's super easy, and I can figure out what this is all about. Next point there, podcast presentations. We're going to keep doing those. We don't have to all be sitting in the room to hear them. You can still record them and send me a link or send me the file. So we're going to keep doing the podcast presentations. The group assignments. Lots of the work that we're doing in this class is in these small groups that we've already set up. You're already capable of working in small groups, whether you use GroupMe, whether you now use Zoom and you get together at a group during the scheduled class time or during some other time, whatever works well. Here's what I'm asking. Please contact me if your group needs help interacting. If people are breaking down, not showing up, then let me know. If you're able to do your work together as a group, I'm going to assume you're big enough, grown up enough, adults to get your work done. So my assumption is going to be you don't need my help. I am available to help you. If your group's struggling in any way, reach out to me and I'll help. Otherwise, jump in together, work together as a group, get your work done. You'll notice S&T Connect, right? I kept that up. Academic dishonesty. Cheat, you fail the class. Nothing's changed there. Title IX, nothing's changed there. Accessibility and accommodation. If you were already allowed 2 hours to take a 1 hour test, and now we have the final that's 2 hours, so you're allowed 4 hours to take the test. That's great. Keep going. Do already what you've got in place. You notice I've knocked out classroom egress maps, the LEAD and the Student Success Center, not because these are unimportant things, but because they're totally in this fluid space. Different things are going on with them. They're not operating exactly the same way. It's not some facility you can walk into because you can't walk into really to much of anything right now. So I've knocked those out just so that you're aware that some of those things have changed significantly. Finally, at the top of page 6, the additional contact person. Reach out to me if you've got questions, but if you have problems with me, you are more than welcome to reach out to Joel Birkin, the department chair, and speak with him as well. Now let's pivot to kind of like the nitty-gritty, the details, all right? The course calendar. I'm looking now in the middle of page 6. I'm looking at this table. There's 3 columns there. Column 1 is the week. Column 2 is the Tuesday lecture. Column 3 is the Thursday lecture. Now, we've already got a rhythm going. We already know what we're doing in this class, so none of that should be strange. What is strange is that we're going to adjust the schedule a little bit. So on page 6, everything's in black, everything's the same, it's all done. We've already finished it. But what you noticed is page 8. page 7, week 8. So I'm now looking at the top of page 7, and I'm looking at week 8, and I'm looking at week 9, and I'm looking at week 10, and 11, and 12, and here's what you'll notice. Number 1, everything slid back a little bit. Same stuff, just due a little bit later. Week 8, we had already started to work on an evaluation matrix and to brainstorm some solutions. I had already asked groups to start working on constructing something where at the top of the page is your problem statement, where across the top of the page are different columns that represent different solutions to the problem. And in the rows are the different criteria you're using, like cost, feasibility, political will, right? The different criteria. And then your job as a group is to evaluate your brainstormed options against the criteria to identify which one makes the most sense. That's the Unit 8 evaluation matrix. That's like the main meat and potatoes of what I'm looking for the second half of the class. So I'll put some additional instructions up there on the Unit 8 so that you kind of know a little bit further what it is you need to work on. But I think we've already kind of discussed this. There's been some members of every group that were together in our last live class. So there shouldn't be anything here that strikes you as totally weird, although you may need to spend some time in your groups working on this and getting your mind around it. Some people weren't there during the optional day and they may be like, what is it he's looking for? So get together in your groups, start working on this optional exercise for Unit 8. Now, week 9, week 10, we're doing this online discussion board. That's to give you something regular, something to cling to, something normal, to share some life hacks, to share some humor. So that's going to continue on this week, week 9. That will also go on next week, week 10. It's optional. It's spring break. You're welcome to ignore it. I would hope that you would find it at least interesting enough to continue to interact with your colleagues. I'm sure you're all very excited to see me every morning on a YouTube video. I've got colleagues that are using Zoom and all this fancy technology. There've been some great stories of how well it's working. There've been some horror stories of where people have recorded a lecture and it disappeared or something didn't upload to the cloud. I'm an engineer. When things start getting more difficult, I rely on things that are simple that I know work. So a quick YouTube video with a Canvas post, I'm confident those things work. So I will be in the space of what I know works so that we can stay engaged in working with each other. So week 11 is Unit 4 due, week 13, Unit 5, week 14, Unit 6. I'm going to ask Sarah Massengale with Extension if she will adjust her presentation from the 2nd of April to the 9th of April, but we'll just keep making progress on this schedule. So if you're wondering, hey, what should we be doing right now? Working on Unit 4 and getting together in your small group to talk about this evaluation matrix, putting that together, that's what you should be really focused on right now, and then we'll just keep making some progress. So, number 1, please take a look at the syllabus. Number 2, any questions, email me. Number 3, I really would encourage you to get involved in this discussion board. It's a great way to stay connected with each other. Number 4, over spring break, I'll have the instructions up so you can knock out Unit 4. Number 5, start getting together with your group and start working on this evaluation matrix. The problem at the top, your brainstorm solutions across in columns, your evaluation criteria in rows, and then start to score things. If you work together as a group and you start to put something together and it's in a draft form, and you're like, I wonder what Dan thinks about this. Here would be my suggestion. Snap a picture of it, send it to me as a PDF, attached to an email, with the subject about which class this is, with a description of the file that makes sense so that I know what I'm looking at, and I will shoot you back an email with some feedback. All right, have a great day. Looking forward to keep working together. Bye-bye.